Hi guys, my name is XLRJ and I have been maining Rover ever since the beginning of the game. And Rover is actually an insane damage dealer. What blew my mind the most was, once you have completed chapter 6 of the main story, Rover will unlock another element to use if you didn't know, Havoc Rover. This is by far my most favorite element with Rover, and probably my most favorite character so far in Wuthering waves. In this guide we will be going through team comps, echo builds, weapons and everything you need to know to make your Rover an insane burst damage dealer. Now rest assured I don't have the best echoes possible, so you can definitely follow my build for really good damage. Let's start with weapons. Right now I am using the Emerald of Genesis from the normal standard weapon banner. Now I got really lucky and I only pulled 30 times to get this weapon, but please don't hate my luck. You don't need to have this weapon to deal great damage. Any 4-star weapon will be good enough to deal good damage. You can use the weapon selector box if you have that and you are willing to use it for this, or you can craft the 4-star weapon eventually if you farm some mats if you didn't know, or you can even get one from the battle pass if you are willing to spend some money. But in the end, right now the Emerald of Genesis is by far the best weapon available, giving more crit rate, energy, regen and increasing attack that helps Havoc Rover deal a lot more damage. As for echoes, from my experience, having Dreamless as your main echo is by far the best for damage, and you can even skip the animation if timed correctly, allowing you to deal more damage, which I will show under the skills later in this video. I am using the Sun Sinking Eclipse set, which increases Havoc damage and is perfect for Havoc Rover. As for the main stat of your Dreamless, we are looking for crit rate or crit damage. As for substats for all echoes, we are looking for a decent amount of energy regen to make your skill rotation work with your ultimate, and you definitely want to have high crit rate, crit damage and attack percentage. Just going straight for more damage will allow you to clear levels fast enough in places like the Tower of Adversity to progress throughout the game. Another decent stat for Havoc Rover is resonance skill damage, because Havoc Rover can use their skill a lot. For your free cost echoes, you want to use Havoc damage as your main stat if possible. If you can't find Havoc damage, you can definitely use attack percentage alternatively instead until you can find one. For your 1-cost echoes, getting both with attack percentage main stat will be the best to deal maximum damage. So right now, these are my echoes, definitely not perfect yet, but manageable. This is how my Rover stats looks like with my echo stats. And as you can see, we have a lot of attacks, some energy regen, maybe even a bit too much, high crit rate, high crit damage, Havoc damage and some resonance skill damage, all helping her to deal more damage. As for Havoc Rover's resonance chain, they are extremely important to make your Havoc Rover stronger, and the second passive is really good. It allows you to use your skill immediately again after going into the Dark Surge state, which I will be explaining under skills. Also, at the time of me making this video, we can only get 2 resonance chain levels, unfortunately, and we will be able to get more levels as more of the story and world unlocks. I think I got the first resonance chain level from the story's quest reward, and the other one I got from the relic merchant in Jinchao. If you didn't know, he is over here. But that being said, remember we get these for free eventually, which is great. No need to summon for dupes like you have to do for other characters. The resonance chain passives looks pretty good after level 3, giving a small heal, reducing Havoc resistance, dealing more damage with basic attack 5, and the best of all, at level 6 getting 25% more crit rate, which is awesome. For skills, Havoc Rover is really good at burst damage and having some decent AoE damage even. The in-game tutorial explains how to use your skills pretty decently, but not really your rotation. So I will explain the basics. The most important thing to always be aware of is that you should always use your resonance skill before going into the Dark Sage state, which you can do by getting your bar full at the bottom and holding in the attack button. This will allow you to get the cooldown reset on your skill to use it immediately again giving you a nice damage boost using it twice in a row, if you have the resonance chain level 2 of course. You should also always use your ult first before you use your Dreamless Echo, because Dreamless deals 50% more damage if you used your ult before using the Echo for the next 5 seconds. Another extremely important thing to know in this build is to skip the Dreamless Echo's animation. It sounds pretty complicated, but don't worry, it isn't at all. All you have to do is use the Echo and swap immediately to another team member, and the Echo will still do its full damage, skipping the animation. So yeah, it is that simple, and you can do more damage this way, making Dreamless a really good Echo pick. For team comps, I have tested out a few different characters, but Dungeon is by my experience so far the best damage dealer with Havoc Rover. Dungeon's outro skill makes the next character gain 23% Havoc damage deepen for 14 seconds. And this is perfect for your Rover, increasing his or her damage by a good amount. If you don't have Dungeon or you want to invest into another character instead as a sub DPS, you can definitely go with Sanhua. Sanhua's outro skill increases the next character's basic attack damage by 38% for 14 seconds. So while it won't increase your skill and echo damage like Dungeon does, Sanhua will boost your basic damage at least, making it a good pick too, but since we can't get more resonance chain levels for Havoc Rover to make Havoc Rover's basic attack stronger, right now Dungeon is the best pick. As for your third party member with Rover, Dungeon or Sanhua, you probably want a support or healer, and right now I don't have any issues using Baiji, and she is great. But I have heard that Verena is better for the healing role, so if you have Verena you can use her instead. Alright, now let's see everything in action, but before we do, these are my stats, so just have a look at it if you want to use it for reference. We will be testing it out in the Tower of Adversity, under Experiment Zone Floor 4 of Echoing Tower. I will be using Rover, Dungeon and Baiji. So the first thing that you will notice here is when I summon them, I will use my ult immediately, and then my E, which is my skill, and then I will use my Echo and immediately swap to Dungeon, and then I use my Dungeon skills and everything Dungeon wise. And I will swap back to Dungeon here, trying to get a skill swap for my Rover. But it was a bit rough here, so it took me a while. I swapped to Baiji for a bit of healing every now and then if I needed healing. And the moment we're just waiting for that Rover swap to come down. There it is, it popped up, I swapped to Rover, I used my skill, and I go to Dark Surge and I use the skill again doing heavy damage. And then I use my ultimate here, use my Echo, swap to Dungeon, while the Echo is still going, skipping that animation, and just doing huge damage. And now we have the boss. So as you can see, we are doing an insane amount of damage just doing this skill rotation. It is so good. So we'll just do the same thing with the boss over and over again while we are obviously dodging mechanics and dealing with Baiji. So now my Rover skill comes up and we go Dark Surge here, or ult first, doing Echo, skipping the animation, so we didn't do the skill with Dark Surge. That was a mistake by me a little bit, but we definitely did a lot of damage there. But yeah, it's easy to make mistakes with the skill rotation, but it definitely helps skipping that animation from the Dreamless Echo and swapping the whole time between your Rover and your Dungeon will really do a lot of damage. Just look at the amount of damage we're doing here. Doing Dark Surge, doing our skills, just an insane amount of damage with this team comp. And there it is, he is dead. Make sure to hit that sub button if you want more videos like these in the future. And check out this video if you want to know how to travel faster in the open world of Wuthering Waves to get that exploration done faster.